Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We want to welcome you to Self-Care Matters. This evening, Dr. Lindner will be covering sleep matters. I want to introduce you to myself. My name is Heather Abbott, and I'm a self-care advocate, along with my co-host, Sparks Johnson. Dr. Lindner is a self-care ambassador for what he has created as Self-Care Matters. Sparks, why don't you take it away?
Unmute yourself, please, Sparks.
No technicalities. Hi, everybody. This is Sparks Johnson, and welcome to this call. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, Dave Johnson. I really appreciate that.
And isn't Dave looking lovely this evening?
Dave is looking amazingly
Best
well
I've ever seen Dave look. So.
Yeah, it ranks up there, I'll tell you that. We have Dr. Gary tonight, and he has a very special presentation for us tonight. And so without further ado, if you do not know, Gary is a PhD in reproductive sciences. And so with that, we will get going. And Dr. Gary, what do you got for us tonight?
I've got a lot of reproductive science for you, Sparks.
I know that you've been cowing today.
Actually was. I had an awesome day making babies, cow babies today.
Okay.
Got here in plenty of time to do this presentation, so thank you all for joining us this evening. And thank you, Sparks. And I appreciate you being on the call. And Heather, thank you for hosting this evening. You always do a wonderful job. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So this whole series, this Self-Care Awakening, was designed really to bring back some common sense and some sanity to what I consider to be a pretty much insane notion that chronic disease is a normal part of life. It's not. It should be the exception. Sparks and I had a little conversation about that last night, because when you look at the population, let's just say virtually it's a problem globally, but if you look at the United States, most people have a chronic issue, a chronic disease. And I still took exception with Sparks saying, well, if that many people have it, it is normal. And it's not normal. It is, and we don't want it to be normal. Many times we're brainwashed that it's normal. Many times we think being healthy is difficult when it's really pretty simple if we make some of the right choices. So life is about choices. And if we had a choice, I think we would choose to be healthy as opposed to not be healthy. So our tagline here for this awakening or this series is be healthy by choice, not by chance. So we define self-care as an active or a dynamic and ongoing process through which people become aware of and then make choices for a healthier life. And this is a very simple statement, but it is a very empowering statement. Most people that I chat with about self-care perceive that as being empowering for them to make choices to be healthier. Within this series, we look at 5 different areas. We look at water matters, we look at air matters, and Mr. Johnson here does an excellent job on that presentation. It's been recorded and up on YouTube. We look at light matters or energy matters and weight matters. And these 5 areas are essential for life. And tonight we're going to talk about sleep matters. And sleep is an essential physiological process. It's not a luxury. And many times we lead very stressed, very busy lives, and we forego sleep instead of, say, doing that paper that evening if we're a student, or finishing that proposal if we're in business, or whatever it might be, saying, okay, well, I'm not going to sleep as much tonight because I need to get this done. And from a standpoint of health, that is not a healthy choice. So if we look at this is a quote by William C. Dement because of his work at Stanford University. He has an MD and also a PhD. And where he says healthy sleep has been empirically proven to be the single most important determinant in predicting longevity. It's more important than diet, exercise, or our genetic heredity. That's a very powerful statement. And many people don't think of sleep as being that important. Here's a quote from Sanjay Gupta in a CNN documentary that aired just about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, where he actually says if you have an extra hour in the day to exercise, you will be well advised to use that hour for sleep. because it will provide more health benefits. If you haven't seen this documentary, I suggest you do. It's very informative, very enlightening as far as to the importance of sleep. And this is one of my favorite presentations to do, because this is an area where we really have control or are empowered to make healthy choices. Some characteristics that you aren't sleeping well are listed here, and I apologize for the busyness of the slide. But if you need an alarm clock to wake up on time, that might be one indication. If you rely on a snooze button, how many times do you wake up with the alarm and hit the snooze button and say, okay, 5 more minutes, okay, 5 more minutes? We should feel refreshed after a good quality sleep. You have a hard time of getting out of bed in the morning, you feel sluggish or tired in the afternoon, get sleepy in meetings, lectures, or warm rooms, or presentations like this online. Please don't fall asleep on me, all right? But you get drowsy after heavy meals or when driving, need to nap during the day, fall asleep while watching TV or relaxing, feel the need to sleep in on weekends. Maybe people think that's a good choice and they can catch up. We'll talk about that in a minute. And if you fall asleep within 5 minutes of going to bed, that's not necessarily a good sign. I gave this presentation to a live audience in Logan in January, and there was a number of people in attendance that didn't understand that. And really, it usually takes somebody somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes to start to slow down to get into those stages of sleep. And if you're falling asleep within 5 minutes, that's a good indication that you are sleep deprived. So if we have some issues, here's some choices that people in our society make, and they use sleep aids. And they aren't necessarily good choices. Many of them, at least prescription ones, are narcotic. The FDA has ordered to use stronger label warnings because of their addictiveness, and even over-the-counter ones. And we have to ask the question, when we're taking these types of products, are we actually sleeping, or are we just kind of medicating or narcotically putting ourselves in a coma, if you will? And more or less, that's what we're doing. We really aren't getting a good quality sleep. If we're tired during the day, some people make these choices, and again, not necessarily very healthy ones. Energy drinks, and especially in many younger people. I see this all the time. I was in a grocery store the other day, and a gentleman, the checker that was checking me out, was just pounding down one of these. And I said, why do you drink those energy drinks? And he says, well, I used to be addicted to soda, which pretty much meant he was addicted to sugar. But now he's replaced that addiction with high sugar contented energy drinks, and told me that he drinks 3 to 4 of these a day to get through his work shift. The short conversation I had with them along that line was, that's not a healthy choice. There are healthier choices to provide you with some energy, and maybe a good night's sleep might be one of them. But, if you continue down that road, your chances of being pre-diabetic are probably pretty good within the next 12 to 24 months, and diabetic within 3 to 5 years, just from the sugar content associated with that. Too much caffeine in the form of coffee, teas, whatever, too much can be detrimental as well, and also can interrupt normal physiological sleep patterns. So what is the problem here? Why do most people, and I'm not going to go through problems that have etiological or disease processes, but really just kind of, for most people, why they don't sleep well. One is we have a tough time relaxing. Prior to my self-care adventure, I was one of those people that would lay in bed with my mind just racing all night. I couldn't shut it down, and when I did fall asleep, I would wake up and look at the clock about every hour and a half. Because so many things were going on in my mind. A lot of times people have physical discomfort, and they have difficulty sleeping then. They're moving around a lot. They're tossing and turning. Temperature fluctuations, being too hot or too cold, and that will wake us up at night. We'll look for a cool spot on a pillow if our head's too hot. And every time we do that involves a voluntary muscular action, we have to wake up from a deep state of sleep in order to do that. And many people have breathing issues. That's probably number 3, I think, for sleep problems. So some facts about sleep. This is an issue. This is a societal problem, if you will. 70% of our population have sleeping problems. 63% sleep less than 7 hours a night. We have almost 70% of children have weekly sleep problems. This one figure here, 3,000 sleep clinics in the U.S., I kind of have to chuckle, and it's not funny, but just I remember as a PhD in physiology, a doctorate student at Clemson University, I took physiology of sleep course, and I still have that textbook in my library today. And if you look in the back of that textbook, it lists all these sleep clinics in North America. And it was probably my second year, maybe I think it was my second year working on my PhD. So that was quite some time ago. But if you look at the number of sleep clinics in that book that was probably published in the late 70s, there were 3 sleep clinics in North America. There's over 3,000 in the U.S., and I'd say that number's much higher. You know, one poor night's sleep, we drop our immune efficiency by 60%. If we don't sleep well a few nights in a row, what usually happens? We get that pathogen, it takes its hold on us. We get a flu, we get the cold, we get sick because of our immune efficiency has been compromised. So according to the National Institute of Health, the average adult sleeps less than 7 hours per night. That may sound like a good idea, but it is a recipe for chronic sleep deprivation. Here's how much sleep we need by age. Okay, average sleep needs by age. And as you'll notice, as we get older, we need a little less sleep. And this is from the University of California in San Francisco. That 7.5 to 9 hours is stated there by UCSF because we need to go through 5 different sets of the sleep cycle. And a sleep cycle has 5 different stages in it. We have 4 non-REM, non-rapid eye movement stages, and 1 rapid eye movement stage. Now, each of those take a minimum of 90 minutes up to 110 minutes to complete each one of those 5 cycles. And if we wake up, and these are cyclic, if we wake up, let's say at stage 2, we have to start over at stage 1. We won't proceed to stage 3. So anything that's waking us up at night or disturbing that normal cyclic pattern resets it. And so if we were to go through that 5 times, assuming 90 minutes, it would be about 7.5 hours worth of sleep that we need. And as we stated, the average American adult gets less than 7. 63% get probably 6, and some people only 5. So poor sleep can cause a host of poor health problems, physiological problems, if you will. It can cause weight gain, and we don't sleep well. We are hungry. We crave sweets. We crave carbohydrates, and of course, too much of that can lead to some blood sugar problems, diabetes specifically, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, some mood problems, anxiety problems, depressed moods. We mentioned poor immune function, and can lead to alcohol or to drug abuse in order to narcotically, again, try to, whether that be alcohol or a narcotic, to try and get some sleep. So really, this is a problem when we're looking at 70% of our population having sleep issues. There's some common myths about sleep, and I get these all the time when I'm chatting with people one-on-one. And they say, so just getting 1 less hour of sleep per night's not really going to affect me, but it is. It is going to affect the efficiency of which you function, how much you get done during the day. We think our body adjusts to different sleep cycles quickly. We do not. Extra sleep at night can cure your problems with excessive daytime fatigue. That's pretty much a myth too. And you can make up for lost sleep. This is probably the most common one I get. I don't worry about it during the week when I'm busy and I'm working because I make up for sleep on the weekends. Doesn't work that way. You'll never repay that debt. This is a 24-hour circadian cycle where your body requires that essential physiological process of sleep each 24 hours. And so you really will not make up that debt. So if we had a choice, all right, we want a good quality night's sleep, one that's sound, deep, restful, rejuvenating. In the 5th century BC, Sophocles wrote, "Sleep is the only medicine that gives ease." And if this is the case, it stands to reason that a lack of sleep or poor sleep would give dis-ease or disease. So our self-care choice here, our solution, is what we call adaptive sleep technology. It's provided by a 40-year-old research and development company from Japan called Niken. It has a number of different technologies in it. It has well over 20 years, 25 years of R&D and improvements in it. It is built or designed around the physiology of sleep to provide a deep, restful quality sleep. So what's in here really is we have 3 different technologies, a number of different technologies, but when we're looking at the energy technologies, we have magnetic technology to replace the Earth's natural energy. Many times sleeping on a coiled box spring of metal, we're blocking that natural energy. Probably not the healthiest choice to do. We have orthopedic support. We have massage nodules and far infrared temperature regulation to keep you at an even temperature, neither too hot nor too cold. It is very cost effective. It's a fraction of premium mattresses. I was at a client of mine's last year, and this gentleman hasn't slept in 30 years from what he told me. And he has spent nearly $30,000 in the last, say, 10 years on different types of mattresses without any good results in improving his quality of sleep. Niken also uses environmentally responsible materials. We use a lot of natural latex, a lot of Kaito cotton, a lot of bamboo in the manufacturing of this, and they're very safe materials. So if we look at what wakes up the average person in our society during while they're sleeping, so they don't get that quality of sleep, one is they just can't relax, the discomfort, the temperature fluctuations, feeling too heavy in one spot, breathing issues in the head, and your head being too hot. And here's really how the Niken Kinko sleep system, the Naturist sleep system, takes care of that. We use the triphase technologies, the magnetics, the far infrared, the negative ions. These all help you relax. That sleep problem that I used to have with being able to relax and fall asleep and stay asleep, within a week subsided and went away when I started to use this system. I just naturally relaxed, fell asleep within 10 to 20 minutes, sleep for a good 7.5 to 8 hours each night, get up and feel great. Discomfort, again, the triphase technologies can help with that. Temperature fluctuations, the comforter in the sleep system keeps us at an even temperature. We're neither too hot nor too cold, so we aren't throwing the covers on and off or putting our leg outside the covers to try and cool down. And again, I'll reiterate, if we do that and have voluntary muscle movement, that wakes us up from those progression of the sleep cycles. Feeling too heavy in one spot, the Naturist Kinko pad has massage nodules, so you don't feel too heavy in one spot. The pillow will help open up air passages and help with some breathing issues. And our pillow as well, and the pillowcase, keeps our head cool. I mean, how many times have you been asleep at night and you've noticed you've woken up to move the pillow to get your head cooler, move it to a cool spot? Many people experience that. It won't happen with this system. It'll keep your head cool naturally, and you won't wake up and interrupt the cycles. So a number of years ago, a lot of people were making a self-care choice for better sleep through me, and made the choice for a Niken sleep system. And so I actually did a little study on it, and having a scientific background, that was pretty much a natural thing for me to do. So anyways, what I did is, when these people didn't have any major health issues other than just some sleep problems. And to date, I've done this on nearly 200 people, but here's what I did. I asked them 8 different questions before they used the Niken sleep system. And then I came back anywhere from 4 to 7 days later and asked them these same 8 questions. I took this form with me, came back to their home or called them on the phone and asked them the same question. So when I first awake, I'm mentally groggy. I asked them to give me a number between 1 to 10, with 1 being never. They were fully alert and awake when they woke up. 10 being that virtually every morning they woke up groggy. And the list of questions here really are indicative of how well they are sleeping. So here is basically the results of, like I said, nearly 200 people. And it's quite amazing. It's quite elucidating as to the improvement of sleep you can get with the right sleep system. A 45% improvement in sleep quality in less than a week across the average for these people. So, and some of those are very high. Tossing and turning was the highest, 62%, that they perceive themselves or their partner sharing the bed with them perceived that person, sometimes I have to say, a little disclaimer, sometimes the person I was asking the question to wouldn't perceive that themselves. Oh, I'm still tossing and turning. And then their spouse would look at me and say, oh, no, you aren't, because I'm sleeping really good and you aren't tossing and turning here as much. So again, very, very dramatic improvements. We have a couple other products in our sleep category. The sleep mask is an excellent one. Sparks, you gave a little testimonial on that at our live meeting on Tuesday. I did as well. A couple, I'd say probably 6-8 weeks ago, I noticed I had a little spider web in one eye, a floater. And I started to use the sleep masks, and so it's been maybe 5 weeks since I've been using it, and it's nearly gone. So that's a nice little testimonial for it. We also have the pillowcase. I mentioned it. We have a travel comforter. I take that with me when I'm on the road, use it in hotels. And now we have the cocoon, which is basically a sleeping bag, and it has all the technologies of the sleep system in there. I might also say for parents with children having sleep problems, this is a nice first choice. It's very, very affordable. It's as affordable as any good sleeping bag on the market, but with the technologies, and I've had many parents get them for their children that are having some sleep problems. So 7 steps to a better sleep, regardless, okay? Stick to a sleep schedule. Try to go to bed at the same time at night. Try to get up at the same time in the morning, all right? Go through a ritual. Make it habitual for you. Have a ritual at night that your brain's saying, okay, I'm going through these activities or these habits, and it's going to be time to sleep very soon, and that'll help as well. Pay attention to what you eat or drink. Try to avoid caffeine or any heavy meals right before sleeping. Try to get comfortable. Limit daytime naps. Include some physical activity in your daily routine, and by all means, try to manage stress. And if you aren't as near as stressed, of course, you'll be able to fall asleep quicker and better. So this is a slide that I like to show in live presentations, but I'll show it tonight in the live presentation online and in the recording. And these are symptoms that if I were to ask many health professionals, what are these symptoms of? More than likely, they're going to give me a whole host and a whole list of different types of chronic diseases. Everything from diabetes to fibromyalgia to, the list could go on. And many times in the live presentations, I get those types of responses when I ask the audience. But they are also symptoms of poor quality sleep. So sleep is very, very important for our health. So we invite you, if you're a guest on here tonight, to become a registered customer and open up your own self-care portal, if you will. It's free. There's no obligation. You have access to great self-care information. You have the direct ability to order unique products, a sleep system, if you will, or a water system. You have first access to new products and to specials. Or you could also purchase them from the person that invited you to this presentation. But enjoy the benefits. Create your own self-care program through what we call a Nikken Wellness Home. I have been an advocate for this company and for self-care for nearly 19 years. I am 64 years old. I'm healthier than I was when I was 46 when I started this journey. I have more stamina. I have more energy. it's just, I feel good every day. And it kind of helps me walk around with a smile on my face every day because it's good to feel good. And here's the other thing I like to add too. There's no limit as to how good you can feel. There is a limit to the contrary. So really take this seriously. And I invite you all really to look at some of the other presentations in this series. Water matters. Many people ask me, what's the one thing I can do to change my health, Dr. Gary? And I say, change the water you're putting in your body. We're 75% water. 75% of us walk around chronically dehydrated every day because we make every other beverage choice other than water. Sleep matters. We'll have this recorded. Air matters. Sparks does a great job with it. And weight matters. And coming up soon will be energy matters, which will include the concept of how light matters for our health physiologically as well.